Hi guys, welcome to another week of FanJam Talk Show. I'm your host Kurt, and here with me is fellow pundit, netball extraordinaire Colin. Colin, how are you doing today?
I'm still in active rest from a
Active
very
rest.
active weekend when England hosted their men's championship. I can tell you it was a delightful event, and I participated too.
That's awesome to hear, Colin. I am a big fan of you playing, and for me personally, being a Jamaican and being a male player, I was a bit jealous out here when I saw the nationals going on. I wanted to be a part of it, and I was excited that it was happening, especially in these times. COVID has really took a toll on sports, and it's good to see that sports is coming back slowly but surely. Colin, briefly, I know we have a big show ahead, but could you just give us maybe a minute what that tournament was like and being a part of it? What was that like for you?
I think for me as a netball purist, as a netball person, it was, and I've been in the game for quite some time, so it is good. It was good for um, the old meeting the new, so to speak, because there was a lot of new talent. And if there was a national team to be selected tomorrow, the talent would be incredible. For example, the MVP for the entire tournament was a 15-year-old called James Firminger. Um, this kid landed shots with unnerving accuracy. He was like the Maria Falau of the men's side. And equally, his shooting partner who is years old, 17 years old, Luke Owen, extraordinary talent. And there was talent right throughout the entire tournament. So it was a beautiful event.
15 years old, Colin. That's crazy. I remember at 15, I was probably still wearing diapers, not playing netball for sure. I mean, that's good, and that speaks of the depth you guys have in England, and it speaks well for our national team. And hopefully, in the coming years or even months, we could see a national team from England playing a team maybe from Jamaica or
Oh, that is
that.
definite. That's definitely going to happen. And you're going to see this kid. I can assure you, you're going to see him. And one other thing, Kurt, he plays netball the right way.
Oh, and that's very important because here in Jamaica in the local communities we call like run up we call like yeah the elite level netball where there's structure and there's tactics, and then on the other side there's another type of netball that we might call run up and down netball, or back in the days the greats like Dalton, they used to call it jump fence netball.
Jump
So where
fence, yes.
jump fence is a popular one. So it's good when it's good when a player of at that age can play structural netball, and I mean it speaks well for the England team. Hopefully, I will still be around playing when the time comes for maybe a England versus Jamaica matchup in the male competition. I saw South Africa posted that their 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 male team selection, and that they'll be having a tournament soon. And I,
Yes,
I posted I posted a comment under there, and I was like, "Hey, bring your male players when you come into Jamaica too, because I mean, playing in an international tournament as a male player is definitely a dream of mine, and hopefully, I will get to don the Jamaican colors very soon, Colin." All
they
right.
they 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 selected a very strong team, the African South Africans. I
Mm-hmm.
know a couple of the players, and I am in awe of the team that they've selected. And that team, I could easily say that the team could take Australia.
Wow. Well, I have no idea who they are. Kudos on you for knowing them, Colin. Sorry, kudos for you for knowing them, Colin. But that's the kind of news we want to hear about male netball around the world, and it's good to see netball. Sorry, South Africa Association backing the males and giving them that type of support. I don't know how deep that support goes, but it was good to see them posting their squad and giving them like a little support, because that goes a long way in the
Of
recognition that
course,
male players will get.
absolutely. And we can go even further because remember, we're having an African tournament. So we're having an African men's tournament coming up
Oh,
soon. Yes, an African men's tournament. And today, when we had the interviews for the head of Uganda's Uganda head coach, they're not only looking for the head coach for the women's team, they're looking for the under 21s and they're looking for the men's team. So they're selecting 6 coaches, 2 from each for each, and they've incorporated the men in their thinking. So that's a great. I'm excited about where men's netball is going at the moment, since this new institution of world netball has been formed.
right, and that's credit to Uganda as well, because whilst we have noticed that there has been a significant change in the direction of where netball is going and males being more and more involved. A lot of the organization haven't accepted the males as yet. So to see that the head of the Ugandan Association is out there looking for coaches to take up their male players, it's credit to them as well. And I hope very much that that just goes down and they get some credit for that as well.
Hmm.
All right, Colin, let's jump over into some professional netball now. And we were supposed to have Rob Wright on, guys. He's running a little bit late as far as I know. Um I'll check with my producers to see what time he will be coming on, but apologies for him not being here. Also, my co-host for tonight was supposed to be Shamira. Um we're still working on getting her online as well. So
She
hopefully
must
they'll
be
join.
lost in the outback.
Possibly. So hopefully we'll get them on soon. But in the meantime, Rob, so we're going to start with ANC because obviously they had their grand final over the weekend and it was massive. It was even though it's COVID time, it was one of their biggest grand final in the history of the ANC Premiership. So it was Tactics versus Mystics, and we saw a lot of Silver Fern players, a lot of young players who are coming through the ranks as well. Colin, tell me your thoughts on that one.
You know what? I'm excited about these young players because the young players are actually more, I think, more dangerous um, in now. Like, let's look at Grace Weke. Grace Weke, I think, is going to be a shooter that will dominate the arena for quite some time to come. Look at Elizabeth Toyava, the wing attack, the deathly touch on her fingers. Beautiful player, great player. Um, her speed, second to none, incredible.
Yeah, you talk about her speed and her strength is also second to none.
Absolutely.
Amazing player. And so for me, it was a final that had a little bit of everything. And of course, I felt that Mystics had opportunities to really run away with that game and close
Yes.
out the game very early on tactics. But I mean, I think it was good for this viewership that tactics kept coming back. Not so much for Helene Wilson and Rob Wright that were on the bench saying, come on, because you saw Mystics, they turn over a lot of ball and they were giving it right back to the tactics, especially in the first half. And you were like, which team is going to settle here and really get a grip on this game? But eventually, Mystics held a 2 goal lead for most of that game and they
Yep.
it out to 6, but tactics couldn't get below that 2 point. And I mean, Elisa Pitatuyava, she was the MVP in the final, and the magic that was created between her and Grace Wiki. And of course, we can't forget Sulu Fitzpatrick, the inspirational leader. She stood up in the back for them against a much taller opponent, and she got some crucial turnovers as well. Colin, would you have agreed that Tuyava was the MVP for that game?
Yes, because we need someone that can feed the ball with accuracy because Grace is not the type of person that is a go-getter. She's not the person that will go and get the ball and bring it in. So she needs the ball to her. So it has to come with accuracy. And Toyava did a great job. But let's not forget Heffernan as well in the midcourt. In the midcourt, quite,
Yeah, so it was a really good game, guys, and the replay is available on the ANC Premiership
Yes, it is.
website. If if you didn't see it live, which I'm sorry, you missed out, and that's all on you. You can go to the website and it's available to be watched. It's a great game. Go and enjoy. There was brilliant defense, attack, and mid-court play, and I think you guys should take the opportunity to enjoy that game. So
What
sticking
did you
with you, go ahead, Colin.
What did you think about the selection that followed?
Right, so
The
that's what I was getting to next. So right away, the selection came like 2 days after, and I was very keen to see who would have made that Silver Ferns team. But one thing I can say about Nolene and her selection committee, and I saw this from before the World Cup, the informed players, they always get a call up. They always get the opportunity to get a chance to get an experience in that Silver Ferns dress. And for me, there was no major surprises. The persons who were expected to be there. The only person I probably thought would have made an probably be slipped in there somewhere was Timo, that the defender that plays a center.
yes,
I
Timo.
thought as a young player, she's very tall, agile, and aggressive,
And
and
our body's big.
yeah, she's really big, and she had a very very good season alongside Anna Harrison. And I thought she, given the amount of defenders they have available, the quality defenders they have, I thought she would have been one of the defenders that got called up. But I was very pleased to see the likes of Tuyava getting called up, Heffernan getting called up, and some of those Tiana Metura, some of those players who haven't been there before, Jamie Hugh, they had a standout season in my opinion, and they were rewarded with Silver Ferns connection, with Silver Fern call up, and I think they truly deserve it, Colin.
Um, Looking at the team though,
Mm-hmm.
in previous years we'd look at Australia, we'd look at New Zealand, and we would have that. Oh my God, that flutter. Your heart would flutter a little bit to say,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh my God, they're going to take them. They're going to take everybody." Did you get that feeling at all?
Well, no, not necessarily. So for me, it's almost like a level playing field at the moment, because I mean, when I look at the Australian squad, and we'll get to that, I compare that to the New Zealand squad and probably the English squad. I think, and even the Jamaican haven't announced a squad as yet, but the English squad probably seem to be the most settled in who they are using. Yeah, most of the big names, the experienced heads, they're all there. The Silver Ferns, you see some new blood. Australia, you see some new blood. The good thing though for the Silver Fern, and I'm sticking to them. The good thing for the Silver Fern, however, the players that they have selected, like for example the Tiana Metura, the Tuyava, they are hungry and they are so extremely talented, and they're with Wiki at the back, who is such a weapon. The ability of Tuyava and Metura and even a Selby Rickett, their playmaking skills in front of our Wiki is going to be unmatched in my opinion. It might take some time to develop, but as I said, Tuyam and Wiki would have that connection already, and Tiana and Selby, they are natural playmakers, and they work with tall shooters in their club teams, so they'd have an idea of how to feed tall shooters, and probably Wiki is the easiest tall shooter to feed in New Zealand at the moment, so it shouldn't be too hard. So I'm looking forward to how that connection will develop.
How do you think a Jamaica lineup will go against these teams?
So similar to most of them, we have our own strength. So we have our strength, and the biggest strength of the Jamaican lineup is without a doubt Janelle Fowler. Her presence in that circle is unmatched across the world. So if it's simple, if Jamaica can work out a way to effectively feed Janelle, then it's a no show. We can match it with anybody in the world, male or female.
Well, it's not only Janelle. Jamaica now is stacked with, let's just say, with names. They're
Hmm.
stacked with names now. So, where do you place Jamaica in the wider spectrum of things? Where would you place them? If you were to put them without playing now, first, second, third, or fourth, where would you put Jamaica?
It's tricky because when you look at players as individuals, it's a lot different from when they're playing together as a unit. So where talent is concerned, talent as individuals, as I said, I mentioned Janil, but you can come and look at the Romelda, you look at the Shanice Beckford, you look at the Shamira Sterling, the Jodian Ward, the Katie and Dehaney, Latanya Wilson. When you look at those players individually, they're incredibly talented, and probably where individual talent is concerned, they are probably the best in the world. Easily, they would be number one. But when you come on to playing as a group now, that's where Jamaica has struggled, and that will come down to the team morale, the coaching of the team, and the decisions that's made by the management team and the coaching.
Because the stats don't lie, does it?
It doesn't. But
The stats
I mean,
don't lie at all. The stats clearly says that the Jamaicans are up there.
it does. But as I said, because when you bring those individual stats, and stats don't always tell a story, but it doesn't lie. It don't tell the full story, but while it doesn't lie, it doesn't tell the full story all the time. But individuals, so Jamaicans are strong as individuals. So this is where the challenge will now come on the coach like a Connie and the management team on a wider scale to put these talents together and form a formidable team that can compete with the Australians. Because the Australians, as you look at it, when you look at the Sun Corp, Jamaicans are leading most of the stats. Maybe we have two or three players. Yeah, Shamira leading the intercepts. Jordan is there for third. John Hill and Shimona Romella is in the top five for goal score. Shamira and Jody leading rebounds. And the Jamaicans are up there in the stats. So we individually in the same league playing against the same players, we are better than the Australian players. We know that. But what the Australians can do well is come together as a unit and prepare a game plan that the Jamaicans are unable to compete with. You understand? So they know that with Janila around the back, they need to win the ball out front. So they'll set up their defensive wall to ensure that the feed to Janil is 9 out of 10 times, not perfect, not spot on, and then their defenders can get a touch on it, or they'll set up for a cross-court ball that you'll see. I can't forget this intercept that Gykes took in 2015 when she went out and was screaming and took it off Shanice Beckford. That's in my mind.
And listen, she made it look even more dramatic than it was because she fell
Oh,
over on the floor.
oh my God.
After she passed the ball. Yeah.
Colin, you're a real netball genius. So that intercept has stayed in my mind. But I just refer to that to just show you those are the structures that the Australians set up to create opportunities for their defenders to win ball. Because in a one-on-one contest, Joe Weston is not going to get a ball off Shanice Beckford despite the size difference. Bruce is not going to get a ball off Johnny one-on-one. But what they do as a unit is what works out for them. And so if Jamaica can come up with a game plan, they say, all right, this is the Australians' plan. So we need to do this to counteract that. Then we can be number one in the world. But until we develop that kind of structure in our play and that kind of I will put some of those tactics in our gameplay, then I think we'll still linger around third and fourth.
But if not where now, when? And if not who? You know?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. It's a real tricky one, Colin. I mean, we have a new coach.
place as a netball person. I place. I look at South Africa. I look at Jamaica. I look at Australia. I look at New Zealand. I look at England, and all I can see coming out is Jamaica. And I don't mean that because of maybe heritage, or I'm just being a netball purist, and I'm being really open-minded here. And all I can see, for me at the Commonwealth Games, is Jamaica standing on that gold medal pedal, pedestal right there on the stand, and England in the second position,
Right,
collecting
and
the silver.
rightfully so. When you look at the talent, when you look at the talent individually, Colin, that's how I see it as well. Because coming out, moving from Jamaica now and looking at England, the likes of a Joe Hart and a Helen Housby, and not hate onto it, and the form that those players are in currently, compare them to the Australian and New Zealand player, they're ahead. But how they come together as a team
Absolutely.
on the big stage, that's where it counts. And I mean, for me, Australia has the technology, they have the structures, they have the equipment, they have all of that, and that has made them number one for a long time. But I think that's an excuse that we need to stop using now, because we have 7 players playing in Australia. Is it seven players playing in Australia at the moment? What are they taking away from what they're learning in Australia and bringing back to Jamaica? So, for example, when you go to Australia now, you go to training. So Jodie goes to training in Australia, and she's running parallel lines through cones and catching a ball and doing a little change of direction and catching a ball in the back space and driving forward, and all kind of confusing drill that relates to how the game is actually played. When she come back to Jamaica, is she just coming to do a 4 corner? Because Jamaica's favorite drill is 4 corner, guys. When you come back to national training, I'm not saying this is what is done at the national training. I'm just using an example. When you come to national training now, is she just coming back to do a 4 corner drill, or is she bringing back that new drill that helps her to hit circle edge, for example, and say, Coach, I have a drill that I learned in Australia, and it really helps us to protect the circle edge as defenders. Can we show you and see if we can implement it in training instead of doing the 4 corner today? You understand what I'm saying, Colin?
Yeah, but that's not her responsibility.
It is her responsibility.
No. Let me just explain what I mean here. For me, if you have so many players playing abroad, for me, if I was the coach, and in a situation where we have limited resources, as they arrive, I would say, right, have your rest. Let's meet. Let's have a meeting. Because everything that you know down there, everything in your session, we must know. You're going to give me, Janelle, you're going to give me the blueprint for your training sessions. Romelda, you're going to do the same. Shimona, the same. Kadian, tell me what Simone McInnes taught you. Everything. And we're just going to go through everything. And we're going to amass so much information. And all of those players will have to give me 2 or 3 drills that they've done. And we're going to do them. Why did you do them? What was the purpose of them? And we're going to learn from these things. Yeah. Oh,
Hi, Sue. Welcome, Sue. You're just joining us in a very exciting discussion, and we're going to add you in very soon. We're just going to wrap up this segment so we can come to you, because loads to talk to with you, Sue. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.
All right, so Colin, so what I'm saying, while it's the responsibility of the coach to say, yes, come Janelle, come Jodie, and come Shamera, what are you learning in Australia? What can we get from what you're learning in Australia that we can add to our system here in Jamaica to help us improve? The players also has a part to play. If you come home and you realize that the coach is doing a 4 corner drill all the time and that's not getting you where you want to be, then you as a player, you want to win too. So you can go to the coach and say, Coach, you know that I learned this drill down in Australia where when we do it, we can stop the attackers from getting onto the circle edge. Can we try it instead of doing the 4 corner today? Mm-hmm. And the coach might say, okay, let's see. Because sometimes we have to understand, that while with ideally, and I'm not saying the Jamaican coach don't have this. While ideally we'd want everybody to have a certain level of initiative where they'll think about going to the players and, debriefing them as soon as they get home and see what we can take from what they have learned in Australia. It might not be the case. So the players too can inject themselves. And
that's all a part of learning. It's all a part of learning.
It is, Colin, but 21st century. a lot of persons have different views on things. I don't know, Sue, you want to chip in and tell me, is it that the coach must go to the players and say what's happening in Australia, what can we take away, or it's a two-way street?
Oh gosh, I mean, you know, like, you know, the four corner drill just makes me laugh because we actually did that at training the other day with Fever.
Was it a nostalgia?
It's Jamaica's favorite drill. Did Johnny introduce it?
Yeah, no. But I must admit that it was done as a bit of a joke because it is, you know, like, I guess how relative is it? So it depends what you're trying to achieve with the drill. But yeah, the game's come so far, guys. I guess, you know, like, you know, it's funny. To me, there's a big difference between drills and more a game sense style of coaching. Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that's happened over here in Australia and probably through the more high performance elite sporting sector, not just in netball, but across the board, is game sense coaching, you know, more a competitive coaching, not just that robotic drill scenario that might practice skill but doesn't necessarily practice decision making or anything like that. So yeah, interesting.
So thank you, Sue. So I'm seeing some comments, and guys, I'm just using the four corner drill as an example. I'm not bashing the four corner drill. I know it's a fun. I know it's a home favorite here in Jamaica. I'm not saying it's what's done at the national level. I have no issues. As a matter of fact, I played a game on Sunday to warm up. I did the four corner drill. I probably was the one who suggested it. I have no issues with the four corner drill. I was just doing a comparison. It was just a mere example. So forgive me for calling on your favorite four corner drill, guys. No harm intended. I'm just saying. So yes, so just to go back, and there were some. Let me just run through the comments real quick. So somebody mentioned Selby Rickett, and they're not sure how Selby made it into the Silver Fern squad. But I don't like that comment at all. I think she's the best goal attacker in New Zealand at the moment. Her creativity is.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Yes, Colin, she's the best goal. I'm a goal attacker, and I can tell you her creativity is unmatched in New Zealand League at the moment. Her smarts,
I'm a supermodel, but I'm not the best in Paris.
Hold on, but Colin, we saw it, you know, for Selby didn't play the first 4 rounds of the ANZ Premiership, and they lost all 4 games. And she came back, and they only lost to Mystics since she came back, and they went to a grand final. So that's the impact that she has on that team. So, I mean, for me, I'm looking forward to a combination between Selby and Wiki for the Silver Ferns team. So, to me, how exciting that's going to be. But yeah, Selby is an awesome player, guys, and let's support our players.
Let's see what our Sue thinks about our Grace Weke and Grace Weke and Selby Rickett combination.
Extraordinary. I think it's do you know what, Cole? I think it's really exciting. I think the one thing people have to remember is we're such fans of watching our domestic competitions. And that domestic competition certainly gives us an understanding of a player's capability. But when you're selecting for international, whilst you must take into consideration, there's no two ways about it, that, you know, what is the form of the player at the time. But I think you also have to weigh up, okay, who are we coming up against and what style of athlete do we need to beat our opposition? And it's a small field. We know that there is England, Jamaica, South Africa, Malawi, Australia, and New Zealand. I mean, these are the niche countries punching for medals, for, you know, world ranking spots. And so when you think, if you're one of the coaches of those international teams, you're looking and you know who your opposition are, and you're now selecting to beat your opposition. You know, and I think I look at Grace, and I'm just so excited for her future. It will be interesting to see how she stacks up into international level with the different pressures and the unfamiliar opposition. But I think that she'll be an absolute sponge.
Machine.
But I think she'll be a sponge. I think she'll learn some lessons early, but I think she'll be a sponge, and I think she'll challenge every country. But then secondly, I look at Selby Rickett, and I think, you know, if it was me, I'd have her in my squad. I mean, whether or not she gets selected in the team, I don't know. That comes down to the dynamic and the environment at the time. But she's a long bomb shooter. She can post up if necessary. She challenges oppositions, particularly if you've got Grace in goal shooter. So there's lots to think about. So you'd never leave her out of your squad if she's in form in the domestic season. And I think she's proven that
Absolutely.
she has.
So we're going to wrap up New Zealand in a second, but were there any surprises for you in the New Zealand squad selection? So
no, not really. I mean, you can see from the squad, Nolene's been very targeted, which I expect of her. But also too, I think she's set standards, and ever since Knowles came in and took over that Silver Ferns platform, she spoke about standards, and if you don't meet those standards, you're not within her line of sight. So I think she's chosen a squad that speaks to those standards. And I think there's some excitement in the youth that she's got coming through. I think Knowles's vision is big and it's extended. And I think she also believes success comes from a dynamic of both experience and youth. So I'm excited to see what she eventually selects.
Last question on Silver Ferns, and it's coming to you again, Sue. So surely you're aware of the wiki and the two you have a connection on court, right? So would you say it's an automatic selection that if one makes it, the other does as well?
I mean, look, it excites you, doesn't it? I mean, that grand final, she had the ball on a string, didn't she? But look, again, you would think, we're all fans on the outside looking in. And so from what we see on the television, you would say that there would be a level of expectation that connection or that those two athletes would be in a Silver Ferns team together. But I come back every time to, you need to keep remembering that Nolene is sitting there and looking at her opposition and thinking, how do we beat that? And, does the skill set come up against, like if an Australian one-on-one style has to go against Tuieva, what's her skill set like under that hard one-on-one pressure, when for the majority of time when she's playing in the New Zealand system, she can release the ball quickly because she doesn't have any immediate pressure. And so how does she cope with that? Yeah. So, but again, based on form, your eyes are all over her and that connection with Grace. But at the end of the day, until you're in the mind of Nolene, the selectors, and the environment of the Silver Ferns, I respect any decision they make, because that's where we as fans don't get that insight, and that's where we have to trust. If I'm a Silver Fern fan, I've got to trust the decision of the selectors once they get that squad in play.
I always say, if you're going to beat New Zealand, it's like playing a chess match. You have to beat Knowles first, and
yes,
the players next.
And that's what you want from a coach. That's really what you want for a coach. So, I mean, guys, if you have any thoughts on the Silver Fern selection, you can drop them in the comments. If there's anyone that you wanted to see, or anyone that you're excited to see, or anything about that, you can just add it in the comment and we'll come back to it later. But we're going to switch it up a little bit now, and I'm going to jump over to Sue, because Olympics just ended, and we in Jamaica, we were super excited, especially about the track and field, because we had a flourish of medals. Our athletes did extremely well, and we are a very proud nation. And I mean, we have had some Olympic.
Yes, don't rub it in.
We have had some Olympic luck in the past, and so we are here hoping that, hey, can netball get an opportunity in the Olympics? And we are unable to win the world champs on the Com Games, but could Olympics be the time for us to get glory? So Sue, what are your thoughts? The Olympics is coming to Australia, and it's an opportunity for the Australian government or the Australian Olympic Committee to possibly add new sport. What are your thoughts on Olympics, netball making the Olympics, and what are some of the things that needs to be done, the work that needs to be done behind the scenes to ensure that this happens in 2032?
Really good question, and I wish I had all the answers for it, but I just don't. I think if you're a netball fan, it's a no-brainer, isn't it, to all of us? Netball should be in the Olympics. We know the spectacle of the sport it is. We know how broadly and widely it's played throughout the world. I think people underestimate how big a product netball is throughout the world. But we've never had any luck, and we had an opportunity back in 2000 in the Sydney Olympics, and certainly the pitch was pushed in that moment and it didn't get across the line. So I think there's a lot of work to do for netball. And you know, we're not talking to netball people making this decision. That's the difficulty, right? So we need to be really well positioned. We need to work really hard. We need to listen and get an understanding of what are the barriers or what are the opportunities around maybe being considered as a sport. And then we need to work accordingly. I'm on two sides of the fence with this, guys, because, you know, I desperately would love to see netball in the Olympics, and I would desperately love to see it as our pure product. You know, that's what we would love. We fought too hard for. I'm nervous that we may be considered in the Olympics, but we may be considered with a variance of the product. I don't know, Fast 5 or something like that. I'm not sure.
Oh, God, no.
No, I know. I don't get me wrong. I mean, we're all here and we're saying that, but what happens to netball if that question is thrown at us? We're not prepared to take your pure sport, but we'll put netball in the Olympics and give you a platform if you give us a more something product, or we need less numbers, or, you know, I don't know. Like, this is my concern. As I said, we're not talking to netball people when it comes to the decision makers for the Olympics. So in terms of what we can do as a sport, we just need to continue to unite globally. I think we need to continue to antagonise globally as positively and constructively as we can. And I think we need to listen as a sport. Again, I say, if, you know, I mean, the question comes up, do they want males playing the sport? How far is our sport prepared to extend itself to reach that kind of goal or that dream? So, I mean, it's exciting right now to know that we're going to have the Olympics in Australia, and it's exciting to think that we've got an opportunity to push and present ourselves. But without being the pessimist, I don't think it's as easy as we all think it's going to be. And I think we're going to be challenged as a sport internationally, globally, when it comes down to what it might look like or how we have to do it. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope we get the opportunity to put the pure product on the stage.
I mean, and what a product we have.
Look,
you know,
we agree on that, though.
Huh?
Yeah, you know what? That's what I'm saying. You know, like, we agree on that. Like, that, you know, no one's debating that across the world. We love our product, but the reality of it is, there's no netballers in that room that will be the decision makers around that. So it's politics, isn't it? How well can you lobby? Who knows who? I mean, the Olympics. I mean, I've heard stories about how sports get into the Olympics, and it frightens me. So, you know, is netball that kind of beast, and are we capable of positioning ourselves accordingly? And that's why I say I think it's a challenge, but I don't think it's unrealistic. But there's a lot of hurdles and barriers I think we're going to have to overcome as a sport to get there.
Oh, and my God, we have to work like the rent is due today to get it there, because, you know, what better place to have Olympic netball than in Australia? I mean, come on. I mean, I could just see the stage already.
Yeah, it would be huge. I mean, you know, and again, you know, it puts a smile on your face, doesn't it? Like, it excites you at the possibility. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm, you know, like, I desperately hope it does. And I have no doubt that World Netball Australia, and all of the international affiliated bodies will work exceptionally hard for this. And I think we need to look as united as we've ever looked in order for this to be successful. But that said, it won't be easy.
I mean, if you look, one of the good things that gives me some hope, and is this new
world body
federation, or this new world body. They're working hard, I think. And they're doing more work than I think the previous ones did. And I'm not really here to, you know, go into that, but, you know, they're really working hard to try to bring the sport forward and get it to where we need to get to. So that gives me a warm feeling. And then also about on the men's side, I mean, when you look, there's been an explosion, I think, of men's netball everywhere around the world. South Africa just selected their their team. Uganda have done the same thing. Kenya just selected their men's team they're going to have an African men's championship. England just had their championship. I made a run out on the court. I nearly died after my first double lead. But I tell you something. It gave me it gave me life being out there on the court. But what was also important as well, when you look at the championship that just finished on the weekend, a 15-year-old was the MVP. That guy was landing shots, faster than Maria Folau. It was just incredible to watch. A 15-year-old, no fear, and he was just landing shots after shots after shots. And you could see the frustration, and I was just like, what a great future for men's netball.
He's become a Twitter sensation overnight, hasn't he?
And when you look at him, bless him, his little baby face, oh my God. When you met him in person, he was just so, oh God, me. He was really me. But on court, he's an absolute beast.
Yeah.
Beast.
Yeah, so exciting. And you know, like this is the challenge, Cole, because, you know, if come 2032, they say that the only way that netball makes an Olympic platform is to have its equal counterpart in the spotlight as well. What's our sport prepared to do about it? You know, I think it's a really challenging predicament for our sport. And like you say, the men's game and the mixed game is growing nationally, internationally, globally, socially. You know, it's huge. So, you know, I'm a fan. I've always been a fan. I've been an advocate for it. I'd love to see our sport unite in this space.
Yep.
I do understand the challenges we have and the platform we've built netball on for such a long period of time, but I genuinely think our future looks different.
But if you ask Sue, any male player, if what it means to them just to be allowed to play, but at the same breath, if they were to take away, say, resources from the women to give to the men, they would say, no, we don't want you to do that. We want to play, but we don't want to take away resources from the female. You know what I mean? We don't want to harm the female game at all, because women have been our role models. All my role models are women. So, you know what I mean? I wouldn't want to hurt the women game, the female game.
You could put us all in a room for a week and we could talk this for a week. It would be fascinating. It would probably get heated with numbers of people. Do you know what I mean? Yes. But at the end of the day, I just think the men's game is knocking, and it's knocking louder every day. And I'm just intrigued to watch and see what our sport does, not just here in Australia and not just over there in England. And but I think what World Netball may have to do. You know, at the moment, I see their stance, but what they may have to do.
So I think you hit the nail on the head, Sue. And it's about, and I hope other persons are listening, and I hope your voice is reaching the wider community, because at the end of the day, preparation will be key in all of this. Because as you said, when these things are thrown out to netball world, are you willing to do this? Are you willing to do that? What our response is going to be? And I think that will be the key and that will be the key decider in whether or not we go on to make it into the Olympics. So netball world, get ready. Sue Garden is calling on you. We are all calling on you. We are all depending on you to just make a good case for us. I mean, personally for me, I probably will be at retirement age by that time, so probably I won't be able to make the Jamaican squad. Who knows? But for me, even if the males don't get in at the first goal, I'd love to see it in the Olympics, and hopefully we can get to the stage. I mean, we've been lobbying for years, but once we get there, that's a step, and whatever comes after, I mean, we'll be grateful for. So yeah, netball Olympics, here we come. Shamira, you have joined. You were supposed to be my co-host, Shamira. What happened?
She was lost in the outback.
Sorry about that. I do agree with you, Kurt, and the campaign start from now. Even though by the time netball gets into the Olympics, I'll probably be retired by then. But for the future
2 kids,
generation, I
3.
hope to benefit them in the future.
Yes, awesome, awesome, awesome. So, but yes, so I'm bashing on Shamira because she was supposed to be my co-host today, and she left all the work on me. I had to spread my face. I had to clean the house. I had to do all the work by myself. I'm devastated at the moment, but nevertheless, we are here, and let's jump straight over to Suncorp now. And it's finals weekend. I'm pumped. I'm excited. I'm sure everyone in the netball world is excited and looking forward to what this next 3-4 weeks will bring. Um, so let's just have a little talk about the matchups, the top four in general, and the matchups. So we start tonight with Swifts versus Giants, and so let's start with Swifts first, Colin. And I'm going to jump over to Colin here. Colin, Swifts. How are you liking their chances in the top four?
You know, Byron Echo, there's something about that woman I like. She's just so calm. I like her confidence. I just love everything about her. Also, the team itself, when they play good netball, they do it really, really well. But I have to say, Giants are going to be coming with an arsenal. They're going to be coming with guns, machete, everything. They're going to throw everything at it. They're not going to leave anybody standing. They're taking it all. So
the machete and the hammers and everything. Shamira, you would have played against the Giants, and is that something that you'd have experienced? Have you have any bruises to show? What kind of experience did you get from playing the Giants?
Sorry, I don't have any bruises. When it's me and Joe, we play clean netball, but we're still going at it, but we play clean netball.
So are they the team our Giants is the team that will fight all the way, whatever it takes to get to that final round? You think they have?
This game's going to be an absolute belter, and I think that which I'm going to have to go soon because I've got to go and get my hair and makeup done. Sorry, but what I was going to say is that the really intriguing part about this game is the way that both teams finish, and that's not well. They're the two worst finishing sides in terms of the four finalists. So they come out of the blocks all guns blazing, and that's where the battle will come early. It's who holds. And that's going to be the intriguing part because they both are sides that get themselves in front early, but they waver towards the end, and that's where the pressure comes. So I'm really intrigued to see which side steps up in those crucial minutes towards the end of the game. For me, I think that's going to be the fascinating part of this game today.
We can go all the way back.
Pick a winner.
For me, yeah, I actually think the Giants will win this today.
Yes, I agree with you, Sue. But by seeing the Giants, I think they want it more. So yeah. I think the
form lines are better, Shammy. I think this. I was doing my homework, but the form lines coming into this final, I think you have to look at it. And they've won 4 of their last 5. They only lost that game by a goal in extra time. The Swifts have won 2 of their last 4. So, finals, the Swifts have more finals experience, but I just think there's a lot to play for the Giants. The way they played last week against the Fever was quite extraordinary. Yeah. I think Jo Harton will have the game of her life today.
And they played with 8 players, guys. They played that game against Giants with only 8 players. But if we go all the way back to preseason, when these two teams met, they have been having close games all the way from preseason. Throughout the season, they have had some really good battles as well. So, guys, we are in for a treat tonight. Sue is calling Giants. Shamira is calling Giants. Did you pick a winner, Colin?
I'm too nervous. I just have to get up at 4 o'clock.
You have to get up at 4 o'clock. So he's not willing to call a Giants.
No, I'm going with Swifts. I'm going with
Swifts. I was hoping you said Giants, because I learned this is a trick from Liz Ellis and Sue Guardian. They always go, one of them always choose to go the opposite way just because. So I was going to say Swifts, but I actually think Swifts will be in the grand final. So I'm going to say Swiss will, with their experience, I think they will get across the line. And finals is a whole different ball game. And I think some of those super shots that Giants have been lucky to, not lucky because they have talented players who can score them, but with the pressure of finals, I just feel like some of them might just wobble back out, and Sarah Chloe is going to pick up those rebounds. Right, so I'm going to go Swiss for that one. So let's jump over because I want to allow Sue to go to do her hair and makeup. We can see the pretty face later. So I'm joking. It's fine. We love it whichever way we love it. So the other game now, so we'll see Lightning versus Fever. And to me, this was a surprise when Lightning beat Fever a few rounds ago. Guys, how do you see this one going?
I'll give it to Fever every day.
I'm getting a big fever right now.
Fever is gonna smash.
Yeah, I think so too, Colin. I think so too. So Sue, I know you're well. I must say, guys, Sue is affiliated. She's the general manager for Fever, and she has called a lot of games, including Fever. And until I've known a little while now, but she has been affiliated with them for probably 3-4 seasons now, Sue.
We've known that information for ages.
I didn't know it in maybe the first 2 seasons, and I listened to Sue calling the games, and I couldn't tell that she was a part of Fever's camp. There was no bias in the commentary, so I know she's an absolute professional, and I know she will right after I finish speaking, she will tell us how this one will go.
Okay, so my head says Fever today. I think that. When I look back at when the Fever played the Lightning last time, and the way in which the Lightning, I guess, disabled the Fever, I think they've exposed that game plan. So it'll be interesting to see whether the Fever can counteract that today. I genuinely just think that Janelle is a weapon that they'll struggle to stop. And I think that they can break down the mid-court and front, but I think Janelle's added so much repertoire to her game that it's not just about her being this target in the circle. And for me, that's probably a big one. I think Steph Wood plays a massive part for the Lightning. And we know she's been off last week and that resting that ankle. But she is genuinely the radar for the Lightning. And she's also the one that can fire in the super shot and bring them back into the game and give them some real confidence. So defensively, Fever have a task. Sunday Ariang, I think, has struggled on Wood in the past, so it'll be interesting to see her match up today on Wood. But I genuinely think that Fever have the firepower and will get across the line today.
So
Sunday Ariang is the new Corletta for me.
Yeah, she's exciting, isn't she? Yeah, she's just so clean and so much to learn still.
Like Andrex.
So all right. So question. So Fever tend to have a game plan where they are so confident in taking the ones. So a lot of times compared to other teams that are in the top 4, they don't take a lot of 2 points, even though they still score 60 plus goals at the end of the day. But with a Janelle Fowler, that's easy. Coming up against a Lightning with a Steph Wood who is so capable of taking those super shots, and we know the impact that the super shot can have on a game. Do you think Fever should have that as a part of their game plan, that hey, we need to monitor the situation, so if we need to take some 2 points, we need to, because I think what they do is they rely on Courtney Bruce and Sunday Ariak to win back the ball. So instead of panicking when a team goes up by 2 or 4, they say, okay, Bruce and Sunday and Stacey, they'll get some turnovers so we can get it to Fowler and then we come back in the game. But should they take that chance in finals, or should they say, you're hitting 2, we're going to hit 2 as well?
I think they'll toe the line as they have been. It's been winning them games. I think you've seen Glasgow and Teague Neal, when necessary, turn and take the shots. You've also seen them do it in a game where Janelle was on the bench and they shot, I think, 4 or 5 2-pointers in a row. So I think Fever have the firepower. I just don't think they pull the trigger until it's necessary, or they pull it when they're comfortable. So, but like you say, I think it's an interesting one, and it's something I hope the Fever have considered, because at the end of the day, as I said, Steph Wood can be, she can really rip teams apart early with her confidence, and it depends on what the Lightning's structure to the post is. They've taken the least number of super shots of any team in the league, the Lightning. So whilst they can fire, they don't necessarily choose that road to post. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds today.
Yeah, I was coming
once
to that.
people plays the game plan, because like for now, focusing on one player, which is Steph Wood, is not gonna give us anything much. But if you just play your game plan, do what you're supposed to do, then the Fever will come out victorious for me.
Yeah.
Good job, Sham.
I'm gonna go the English national anthem. Send her victorious.
I mean, obviously, I'm no Sue Guardian. I'm a bit biased. She's the only Jamaican in the final, and definitely a Jamaican talk show. I am rooting for Janelle, the best player in the world. She deserves a championship to her name. I mean, she's a superwoman, and Janelle, all the best today in the game. I'm rooting for Fever all the way. I like Lightning. I like most of the teams. I like Steph Wood as a goal attacker. I've learned so much from her, but it's not your day. All right, so grand final. Before you go, one last thing before you go. So grand final pick. So you're saying it's a Lightning Giants final?
No, I'm saying it's a.
Fever Giants.
Fever Giants final.
Yeah.
Fever Giants. And that would be an extraordinary final.
It will be for sure. All right, so thank you for joining us. It was lovely.
Thank you.
And we look forward to hearing you guys.
Screens, guys.
Thank you.
Take care. See you, everyone.
See you. Bye.
All right, guys. Colin, we shouldn't just kick off Shamira for the show now. You don't think so?
Don't be so wicked. Don't be so
wicked. She'll be coming back to Jamaica soon, so I'll be able to give her a conk on her head. So I'll forgive her for now.
I will be in the correct time zone to do the FanJam talk.
Okay, so Samira, so which game are you most excited about? The Fever?
I am most excited about the major semifinal, which is Swifts and Giants. Swifts is a team that you hardly get ball off of, but with Giants, who I think defensively they win more balls than the Swifts. I must say, I'm not bringing down anybody, but I haven't seen Sarah Claw that much this year. Defensively in some games, like the Giants. I haven't seen her much in the Giants game, so it will be surprising to see what Sarah Cloud does against the smart Joe Harton. So I think that will be my key matchup for that game.
Your key matchup.
I don't think she's recovered from the 69 balls that went over her head recently. So
who does the Shimona Nelson?
Sorry.
Yeah.
So all right. So key matchups for that one as well from you, Colin.
From which team?
Swifts and Giants. Shh.
Well, again, it's going to be Amy Parmenter. Talk about annoying. You just want to swat her away, but she just doesn't go away. She's just and then Manuel, Cristiano Manuel, Poolman, they just don't stop. They don't stop. And they're coming at you at 60 minutes with a knife in one hand, a machete in the next, and they're saying, we're not going to stop until we exterminate the entire nation. They're just coming at you.
So my matchup for that game is Jamie Lee Price. Jamie Lee Price, that's her name? Yeah, Jamie Lee versus Maddie Proud. Always very interested to watch them because Jamie Lee is coming in so hard, and that.
Well, I've named her Miss Illegal.
Well, you have to do what you have to do.
She plays hard and clean today.
I hope she plays how she needs to for her team to win.
Yeah, I've named her Miss Illegal.
And Maddie Proud is going to be showing her body and everything, and she's going to be
but Maddie does it.
She's going to be wiping the floor.
Maddie does it cleanly.
For some reason,
Maddie is sponsored by Andrex.
Yes.
So
You know, for some reason, for me, I think that Natalie Haythornthwaite should start as a wing attack today.
Yep.
I think Natalie have earned her spot to be starting in that Swifts team, as she have shown that she can do the job based on the last game. So it'll be
And she'll be
interesting
the
to
perfect
see
matchup against Parmenter.
Pardon?
She'll be the perfect one against Parmenter.
I don't agree. So I don't agree, and let me tell you why I don't agree. So Nat Haythornthwaite is an awesome player, and I can't dispute that for one. And she had a brilliant game against Lightning for the second time this season. It was smart of the coach to start her again and reward her for a brilliant performance against Lightning twice. The thing with Haythornthwaite though, so now she come and she plays a good game, and then next week she can't repeat. And it's all about, in netball at elite level, it's all about the repeat efforts. And her consistency is what bothers me. And against a player like Parmenter, who is so good at the backing up, Haythornthwaite plays a lot in the pocket. She plays a lot for the long passes. Against a player like Parmenter, who is so good at the backing up, I don't think it would be a good matchup for Haythornthwaite. So I would probably...
But is Pullman a flyer?
No, but as I said, Pullman don't need to fly, because if you try to put the ball over in the pocket over Parmenter, it's a very high percentage that she will, and she's taller than Haythornthwaite as well. It's a very high percentage.
I think their game plan will be based around not putting that ball in the pocket, because for previous times when I've played Swifts, and because I'm there, they don't put the ball in the pocket. So I'm guessing that the game plan would be
but naturally, I know some of my colleagues call Haythornthwaite pocket. That's the name we call her, because naturally her games takes her to the pocket. She, if you do your research on Haythornthwaite, she loves the pocket.
Yeah, she loves the pocket.
Yes.
And I know Shamir probably coming up against this. That's something you'd have looked at. If Haythornthwaite, come on, you need to look out for the pocket ball. She loves the pocket. So coming while Puma is not a flyer, Kate and Parmenter has the ability to go back and hunt those pocket balls. So I mean, she's a good feeder of the ball to the circle. So if she can just, eliminate some of those, or probably look at the timing of them, it could work. But I don't know if she would be my first choice in this game. I guess I would twinkle with it and see how it works. But yeah, I don't think she would be my first choice. She had a brilliant game last week, though. She was breathtaking. But yeah,
I just think that and she's not afraid to feed that circle. Those balls kill any defender. You don't.
In Jamaica, we don't say she not a behavior.
Yeah.
Right? She not a behavior. Yeah, we love that from her. But we see a similar style of play from Maddie Proud as well. She has a quick release, and she will release the ball. So probably a combination with her and Haythornthwaite would be good, because I definitely think Maddie Proud on her best day, she's unstoppable. So she needs to be there, probably push Headley around to wing defense. But it comes down to what's happening in the game.
So what about Sophie Dwyer and April Brandon?
Joe Horton?
Well, I think if they can stop either one of those, well, both of them are range shooters and will not that super shot. So it's gonna be very hard for that circle to figure out what they're doing, because Sophie is gonna shoot no matter where she gets it. So I think
Sophie is got this almost borderline cocky, but she's not. But
I love it. I don't think
she gets the ball and she's like, "Watch me. I'm gonna face you. I'm gonna face you. Tush!" And she just doesn't care who it is marking her. She's going to post, and I love that about her.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
So guys, let's jump over to the second semi-final, the minor semi-final. Key matchups for that one, and I'm starting with you, Colin.
Well, first thing, my pick. Let's go for the pick first. You give me fever.
Well, we know your pick already, Colin. So matchup. All right, let me start it off for you guys. I think the matchup will be, and Sue said it, Sunday has struggled against Steph Wood. So I think that will be the key matchup of this game. If Steph Wood is allowed to have things her own way, then Lightning will strike. If Sunday can nullify her, then it will go a long way. And Fever, if Stacey is watching this, don't put Glasgow against Carla Pretorius, because Glasgow going to stop on the drives and Pretorius going to run through on her. Keep Alice Teganil on the court and have her.
Sasha is not quick enough to get those drives, those cut arounds and all of that. Whereas she's a good shooter,
Yes.
but Tigney plays a more
smarter.
And she have the drives. And if that girl could shoot, she would probably be one of the best goal attacks going around. She would be more confident.
My matchup is Janelle versus Pumsy. And I tell you why. And listen, there's not going to be a matchup. There's not going to be a matchup as in she's going to win ball from Janelle. But what Pumsy, she knows the ball is going to beat her 60 times. So what Pumsy does, she starts go hunting. And you know what I mean? She knows the ball is going to beat her, so she's not going to stand there and wait for it to go over her head. She's going to go hunting. And a hunting Pumsy Mawena is a dangerous Pumsy.
And I don't think Pumsy get the credit she deserves, because, it's Pumsy somehow always, I don't know how she do it, because sometimes you look at her, just look at her, you say, oh, Pumsy is not a world-class defender, but she gets the job done. She always turns over balls. Sometimes it's not the flashy intercepts, but probably forcing a ball over the back line or stuff like that, or a rebound. Or as it says, there are times when there are the specky intercepts as well. So she's a workhorse.
Is phenomenal.
That
combination is very good. So it's interesting to see what.
Shami, your pick.
Pardon?
Your pick for the matchup. Sorry.
I was gonna say I was looking on Sunday Ariang and Steph Food. That is gonna be one key matchup. So let's
Ariang will win that.
Pardon?
Ariang will win that.
The stat sheet says 2-0 so far, so let's see.
I want to
if you not say Ariang, you can't call my name.
I want to back Sunday as well, Karen. I really, really like that little girl.
Who?
I can't just give it to her like that, because Steph is such a powerful player too.
I'm loving Ariang because I think she's come from nothing really in terms of her game, and she's just come and now she's right up there with the big girls.
Key for Australia to replace Joe Weston, and I think even now she can replace Joe Weston.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I think you're so right. Right now she's ready. Yep. Absolutely.
So guys, I mean, you guys are brilliant. It's going to be 2 awesome semifinals, guys, and they're tonight. If you're in Jamaica tonight, remember the exact time. Producer, can you just post it in the comments?
In England, it's 4:00 in the morning and 6 a.m.
So so in Jamaica it's 10 p.m. and 12 midnight. So you can tune in and watch them. And it's Swiss versus Giants at 10, and then Lightning versus Fever right after that. So guys, we're wrapping up now, but quickly, Shamir wanted you to be on earlier. So just tell us a little bit about, you were recently appointed as the ambassador for World Netball. Just kind of give us a little update of what that entails.
Well, first of all, I must say I'm very honored to have received the ambassador.
Congratulations are in order.
Félicitations, mademoiselle.
And I think with this role is like promoting netball in that region, in the Americas region. And they could have found a better one than me, because I come with the flair, I come with the sass, and I come with everything. So it's just me promoting netball in that region.
Okay.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
And we are looking forward to seeing what you can do for netball in this region, and I'm sure a lot of excitement will come out of it, and you'll represent our nation with pride, and you'll make us proud.
Indeed.
Sticking with you, Shamira. So I just wanted to I probably need to check your Instagram, but I don't see your end of season post as yet. I know all of the players making a little end of season post. I haven't seen yours as yet. So if you just want to give us a little preview, give us a little wrap on what your season was.
Well, I mean, My team wasn't in the top 5 or the top 6, but rather at
This
7th
year.
place. And for 3 years now, I've been on the top for interceptions. And sometimes when your team losing, you can't really be consistent. But to be able to sit on the top of defensive rebounds and interceptions after your team not really performing so well is the highlight for me, because I haven't seen much player doing that, sitting on top of the stats table with their team losing. And I mean, I'm really grateful that I could be able to back up what I've done last year. I mean, my first 4 games, I was out. It wasn't for me, because those first 4 games I haven't got one interception, and just at the end of the season sitting on 49 interceptions with Courtney Bruce and then Jody at 3rd place. This just gives me a bit of excitement to see what I'll be able to do on the international level with Jody, with me at the goalkeeper, Jody at the goal defense. So really looking forward to that. And really wanted to be in the top 4 spot, but let's see how it goes next year. Don't know where I'll be next year, but hopefully wherever I am, I'll be in that top 4 spot.
Colin, you hear that?
I'm
You hear
clutching
that?
my pearl. I'm clutching my pearls as we speak.
We need producer. We need to get Shamira on more often, because we get a lot of scoops. So she just told us a lot of things. She just told us Connie game plan. So she and Jody going play together, and then she come and tell us that she's not going back to Thunderbirds next year. She
I
going.
did not open say that. I
Well,
said
listen, no, their face get like trouble, you know. You have to talk to me, like Shamira, because I will make up things and the people I'm sure. Guys, all right, guys, don't take my word. Shamira did not say she's going somewhere. She said she's not sure as yet. We have to give her time. The contract period is not open as yet, and I'm sure.
my question to you and Colin, which team do you think I'll fit into other than Thunderbirds?
I would love to see up the Firebirds. You and Kip, you and Jenna would be an awesome combination.
I agree.
Well, for
I
me,
think you and
any
Jenna,
team,
oh my
any team,
God. Oh my God. That
Shamira,
would work.
any team that you go to, you'll be fire for sure. Of course, I'd love to see you and Jody playing together somewhere down there. The working on that combination to bring to the international level. But I mean, if it doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen. But anywhere you go, I'm sure you'll be successful.
Thank you.
So coming over, let's spill over a little just to wrap up now. So we have heard about your season. You have six other Jamaicans down there, Shamira. How have you seen their season, and how does that make you feel? How did their season make you feel going into the international calendar in October?
I think seeing my teammates stepping up like Katie and playing more often and doing the job that she's supposed to be doing, I think that really excites me, because I know her ability and what she can do. Jody, who's her second year in this league, brings much excitement to this league as well. And for me to be looking forward to playing with her on the international level. Jody is not a tall player, but a player that you can depend on to give you interceptions when things aren't going well. Kadian, you can always count on Kadian to come on and also give something. She may not give a lot, but she'll definitely give you something. With Jenny always playing her best netball, I think that's a plus for us, because Jenny is playing against the best defenders in the world, I think, and they can't stop her. I don't think they'll be able to stop her on the international level. It's just that our attacking area needs to strengthen a bit, because that's where they're collapsing us. So yeah, and even Romelda have had a great season, but poor decisions from the Firebirds coach this season, but she has had a great season. Latania's game has improved so much, and I hope by next year she'll be playing more. But this girl have shown this league and Thunderbirds that she wants to play and the work that she's prepared to do.
I'm always a fan of that girl. Always. Because her work ethics is just, for me, from she was in the league here in England, her work ethics is just second to none. So,
and also Shimona, I've never, from being in this league, I've never seen Shimona played so well like this year. Shimona have had a great season, because even when I played against Shimona in the first round, Shimona was very good on me. And even that game with Syracuse, I think next year Shimona will be one of those unstoppable GS as well. Hopefully
she will be the new Carla Borrego.
Yeah. Hopefully she'll come and play for us. Or even be in our squad for us to prepare for the future.
I actually believe that, when I think about that one, I think Australia has their beady eyes on her.
Yeah.
But that's another story. That's another story for another show. Let's see.
Well said, Colin. We're not going down that road. We have had that conversation several times. But to come over to
I don't want to upset you anymore, Kurt. I don't want to upset you.
Please don't, because I know I'll probably pull my hair out. So, Colin, let's just wrap up with you now. Just adding to what Shamira said about the Jamaicans and how you have seen their season going into the internationals.
As I said before, as a neutral, I'm very excited by what I've seen by the Jamaican players. As I've said before, again, the Jamaicans in the Commonwealth game, it will be their time to shine. 2018 was England. 2022 will be Jamaica's time. And if not, then when? If not who?
Yep.
If not you, who? So that's the question. And I just think we just need to, the ingredients are there. All we need to now is just cook that meal and serve it. Yep. And if they do that, there's no reason.
Coaches in England or the SSN, and they can't hold us.
Listen, when you look at the teams, I've looked at intently at the Jamaican team, the Australian team. And when Australia used to select their team, you used to get this shudder. You used to shudder with fear. And I look at the team and I'm like, meh, meh. And I look at New Zealand and I go, meh. That's the same thing. I look at South Africa, meh. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm not saying me, because I think those teams are stacked with talent. But I mean, we're complaining about. I'm going to come over to you where you said that we need a mid-court player in SSN or Vitality. I don't agree, because at the end of the day, we have all our mid-court players here in Jamaica. They have the ability to train together every single day to fine-tune their combination. I think that's a plus for us, because when you look at the Australian team, they have their mid-quarters. One is playing for this team, one is playing for that team, and they don't really get trained together more than maybe once or twice when they have a camp every now and then. But we have them all together all the time. So let's fine-tune the work that they do. Work on correcting the little thing. Yes, Johnny is not here for them to practice how to feel. We have a whole heap of tall girl country. Sorry, guys. We have a whole heap of tall girls in the country. Producer, can you put that out?
Just remember that it's an international show and we have not got subtitles.
Right, we have to choose some little Jamaican in there every now and then and keep our Jamaican viewers entertained.
And I don't agree with what you're saying, Colin, but our center court has been our problem for many years. And they've been together for a while. So how long do they want to be together for them to fine-tune it?
Right. So what we need to look at it can be either one or two things now. Do we need to change the personnel? So do we need to throw this mid-court and get some new players? Or do we need do we need to look at the cook who is preparing these mid-court players? What are they asking them to? And look at that. So it's one of the two. So if we're going to keep these players, then the coaches or the management team need to do something different to get them prepared. But having them all together have to be looked at as a plus. Yes, it would be good for them to be playing overseas, but look, if, for example, Khadija goes to England next year and she's playing in England for WASP, for example, she's playing for WASP and she's learning the type of gameplay that the WASP team plays. When she come back to Jamaica, that style of play now will be foreign to the Jamaican system, and she'll be
But
playing
at least she'll know the
different.
but at least she'll know the tactics of playing a win attack.
But is she alone know that tactics? And when what they're used to is she coming this way and girly going that way, and then all of a sudden she come and she change up that now and girly don't have a clue what she's doing. It's going to be confusion.
No,
So
Kurt.
it comes down to the cook putting it together.
No, Kurt. If we play, if Jamaica play modern netball, because this is all about, because at the moment the center court for Jamaica is still in the in the 80s and the 70s. We've got to bring the center court into the modern era, the 2020s and the 2022s, and that is the issue. How do we bring the ball to the edge of the circle, and then give a better feed to the shooter, to Romelda, to Shimona, to Janelle? That's the key thing. Instead of throwing it all the way from Kingston into Ocho-Rios.
So Colin, I have no doubt that playing overseas will improve their individual game, but that's not the concern I'm having. Because as a matter of fact, I think these players individually, they are very talented, but it's just to get them to work together as a unit. And I think that's our biggest struggle. So it's not necessarily that they don't know what to do or they don't know the operations. If you look at Khadija and her movement as a wing attacker, her movement is very, very good, but it's just sometimes the combination with the wing attack and the center, that's where they struggle.
No. While you say that Khadija is very good, and I like Khadija, yep, but also it's now predictable. We've got the same person from 2013. She's been in this team 2013, and it's predictable. In 2018 at the Commonwealth Games, Jamaica was up by 6 goals at one point against England. And it's the center court that they're talking.
How long Joe Harton? How long has she been playing for England?
Yeah, but Joe Harton has evolved.
So there you go. So it's not necessarily personnel. It's just
and have been playing with the best defenders against the best defenders in the world. Whereas we don't get that exposure to be playing the best wing defenses in the world. It's just who is at home, and then who is at home is not better than who's overseas, really.
Absolutely. So maybe Jamaica need a center court coach to really work out, work on these center court girls. Yes,
and those are valid points, and it leads for much bigger discussion, Colin. As you said, it might be getting a center court coach, but I think that I personally do believe that we have them here if we just put in some work with them. Then
Girly is such a good center. We're able to see if Girly ever get the training she needs.
Yes,
they can't hold Girly, but for now the training is not being given to Girly, and you get it better overseas.
Yes, and
overseas,
and I think someone like Girly needs to be discipline needs to be instilled in her, and also you have to learn to train, because training at this level is not easy. So you have to learn to train, because some of these elite training can be a shock to the system.
Well, the reality is we can't sit down and wait for a mid-court or goal attacks to get contract to go overseas and depend on that as the route for us to get to gold. So we have to look at alternatives. What can we do in the meantime? And as I said, we have them here. All three mid-court, all of the mid-court players are in Jamaica. What can we do in the meantime to improve them we don't need all the fancy equipment and so forth. We're coming from the days that we pick up gallon buckler, we fill it with water, or we get two sandbag and we make some concrete weights. We can be creative and make our own equipment.
That's a good point, Kurt. That's a very, very good point. Because remember, in my time, we didn't have the internet. I started playing netball before the internet.
And now we have the internet as well.
Okay, so we now have the benefits of the internet, where we have drills everywhere. Drills. We have Facebook with loads of drills. Instagram, loads of drills. Everywhere, drills. So we need to learn from these things. Go and look at these drills. Learn from them. And then put them into practice. Huh?
And then like us as overseas players, I know we have been playing netball consistently, but then when you leave here and then go back to Jamaica, it's like you're going back to...
You're stepping backwards.
But why is that? Why is that, Shamira?
Maybe because they're not getting enough training, or they're not training as they should, but it becomes very frustrating. I know we have been playing consistent netball, but then like when you here and preparing to go on a tour with the team that you know have been training, and then when you come on the international stage, it's not going how it's supposed to be going. It becomes very frustrating.
So Shamira, so someone is asking that training in Australia with the facilities and the equipment they have, if it gives an advantage. So what are some of the major differences in the equipment and facilities that you think gives an advantage that we don't have here?
You know, it's not really facilities. It's the coach. You need a coach that gives you tactics. You need a coach that breaks down the game for you. You need a coach that does that. You need a coach that
preach, girl, preach.
That does video analysis with a player to tell her that's what you're supposed to be doing. Whereas Jamaica don't do video analysis, you know. Jamaica
Thank you.
That.
Preach.
Sometimes it's just the girls that sit down and watch over World Cup games, but you don't have nothing that is clip for them to watch or on a specific player. If you even say to one of our mid-quarters, what are you going to do with that England defense, or what centre pass are you going to do? I bet they can't tell you.
All right, so and that's you see it come right back full circle to what I'm saying. For too long we have used the excuses. We don't have the facilities. We don't have the excuses. These players are not playing overseas. There are things that we can do at home to get the players training. The training videos are on the internet. Training plans are on the internet. Shamira probably can check our email right now and send a training schedule of our fitness plan that they use to get fit for match plays. So the resources are there. We just, whoever the management team, the coaches, need to use those information that are available and do what they need to do. As I said, you might not have the fancy gym. Send them up stadium stairs or up stadium steps. You understand what I say? We have to use what we have, because the reality is we might not get everybody playing in an international competition. We might not. So what are we going to do in the interim? We can't just sit back and say, hey, we need them.
The international competition is playing in the best league there is. So what are we going to do as coaches and management team?
Well, I just still think it's about getting creative. It's about, and also, it's about wanting to learn. So as for me, as a person, I've been in the game 100 years, but I'm always willing to learn. And if you close that door of learning, it's over.
It's over.
Okay? True. And Colin, you can have coaches that want to do the job, and want players to get better. But if a player doesn't want to learn, then you can't do anything about it.
Absolutely.
Can't do anything. No matter how good of a coach you be, if that player close the door, you can never reach to them.
Right.
And you see, in a team environment, everyone from the management, the coach, the players, everyone has to be open to learning, because it's a team effort and all of us need each other.
Yeah.
So
and everybody needs to learn how to take constructive
criticism.
It's not bashing
Absolutely.
it, but it's just
For
giving
me,
you
Jamaica is
feedback.
heading in the right direction. It might be small steps, but there are some little things that needs to be ironed out in order, like the finer details, and yeah, like the finer details need to be ironed out, and we just need to ensure that we have a system that's fair, unbiased, and just focused, and doing what they need to do
Well,
with the team.
listen,
Well,
Number one.
a team like Jamaica needs a shooting coach, a center court coach, a defense coach. Yeah. Yep, they need those. They need
That helps. Because at the moment we only have one coach, and I don't think that's good enough. And
that's
I was
not good enough. I
was quite embarrassed, and I'm really I felt for Connie, because it's unfair for her to be out there in England with the team as the sole coach for the team.
Well, you know what? That's Jamaica netball's problem. Because let me remove my glasses for this one. When they were coming to England, I offered my services for free, okay, to help Jamaica. For free. Because I didn't need a hotel bed. I didn't need anything. All I wanted to do was to help for free.
So someone is asking on the chat, and this is a good question, because we are here saying Jamaica needs this coach, but someone is asking, is it that the coach want to be a one-man coach? That's a good question.
Well, that's a question.
That's a question
for her.
I think so.
That's a question for her. But for me, I offered when they were here to do it, to help them, because I was born here in England, but my parents are Jamaicans, and I learned netball in Jamaica. Okay? So I have a very close affinity to Jamaicans. So I wanted to give back some of what I got from Jamaica. And I offered my services for free. Not even an email to say, we received your email. Okay? Wow. And that's not good enough. And if you're getting something for free, take it.
In the defense of the organization, though, Colin, probably they missed the email, or they're still working through.
So they missed the email.
Working through.
So the email was missed. Then the plan that was done for all the players, the problem players in the World Cup, that was missed as well. That was sent to the president of the association at the time to give to the coach, to help the coach with their preparation. Was that done to the players? No. Those players weren't ready. They weren't cooked properly, because the president, which was sent to, the dossier was done on all the players and sent to the president, and they did not send it to the coach. What was she doing with it? Using it for a tea cozy? Okay? And this is the thing. You can't have your own agenda. This is not about you. This is about the sport. Because when we all die, the sport is still here. Okay? And I'm quite annoyed about this, because Jamaica's always been in the light, but we're not shining enough. We're not shining because we're not.
But Colin, as I said, I know it's difficult, and I know, ideally you'd think like, hey, I've been around netball, and I'm sure no one questions your netball knowledge, and you have offered to coach a team, and you think that easily, you're already in England, they wouldn't need to, because I'm sure a lot of Jamaicans would volunteer as well, but you're in England, it wouldn't cost them anything for you to be there. I know you feel that, it could have been even just to let me sit there and pretend like I'm doing something, but I don't remember. These are official organizations, and sure, there are channels that things have to go through to be authorized, and probably they didn't get enough time to figure that out. So I don't think it's anything.
No. They're going to an international tournament.
It was free.
It was free. And you got
all right, I know. All right, so guys, we'll move on from that from now. But for me, the Jamaican team are in good stead where players are concerned. The players are in good shape. They're we have 7 fit players overseas, and I think that my challenge is to the players overseas. Bring back something I yard and not come.
No, you can't leave it all up to us. They have
No.
halfway.
I'm not leaving it all to you, I'm not leaving it all to you, the players, but I'm challenging you to step up, because we know what's expected from the coach and the management, but I'm now challenging you as the players, because sometimes the players don't take the responsibilities. So I'm challenging you as the players to take a part in it and help out the system, because at the end of the day, if we keep pointing fingers, the team won't go forward. So we just have to ignore.
No, Kurt, nobody's pointing fingers. You're paid, Kurt. You're paid to do a job. Okay, you're paid to do a job. Okay, so the players are not going to then go and disrespect the management by saying, "All right, I'm gonna take over. I'm gonna take over." It doesn't work like that.
And
okay, it's up to them. If the coach really wants to learn, Kurt. If the coach really wants to learn, when Shamira gets off that Air Jamaica and she lands in Kingston, a little phone call, Shamira, can I have a meeting with you? And you come with a paper and an A4 sheet of paper and a pen. Okay?
Down at the airport they were calling?
Huh?
Down at the airport?
Yeah, well, wherever you want to meet.
Okay? So, all right, so I'm challenging Shamira and the rest of the Jamaican players playing overseas. When you come back, even if it's not asked from you, bring back something from foreign, come a yard for you. We are the love with foreign things. So in this case, we want some netball knowledge from over Australia or England or wherever you are. Bring back something, come and let's work together to move our netball forward. We have the players, we just need to bring it all together, and every little ounce of details can help to make a difference.
Absolutely.
And all of us, it's all of us, because I'm sure when the team wins, it's not just the players that win or the coach that win or the management. All of us win, because me I go put on, well, I don't know if me go put on anything, but me go run up and down on the road and we go celebrate. So, we want to have that experience, so we have to work together and help each other, guys. So, Shamira,
2022, as I said, 2022 is the caveat for me. Jamaica must be number 1 in the Commonwealth, and if not, something must be done. Jamaica must be the number 1.
The players have to come committed, and everybody have to be, as Sheba just said, everybody has to be accountable. And I'm starting with the players. I'll probably on another segment I'll get to the coach and the management team.
Well, we have the chicken back, we have the seasoning. Let's season and let's cook.
Yes, so, but I mean, for me personally, there's a new management team, there's a new coach. So for now, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to them. But I'm just asking the players to go with an open mind, go committed, and play your part to help with the success for the coach. Because my personal view of the coach and the management team doesn't matter now. What matters is that we give them an opportunity, because they're already in the position, and the players are there, they're overseas, they're playing, and they know what it's like to play high intensity netball and train high intensity. So if they come over here, if they come home and sorry guys, I use the 4-corner drill again because I don't know anymore. If they come home and a 4-corner drill do, them have to stand up and say, coach, the 4-corner drill now get with what we need to make it play international.
Are you saying we haven't said that? Because we have.
Oh Lord God. Yeah. All right, so guys, we're gonna wrap up the show tonight, because this is a whole heap of thing that we probably need to sort out.
4-corner drill dead. It's dead. It's no use.
I'm not saying you haven't said it, Shamir, but I'm asking you guys to, if you said it one time and it didn't work, boys. If you said it one time and it didn't work, probably you need to say it again. Probably you need to go to somebody, because I'm sure
that's why we need a leadership group. We need a leadership group within the players who have come from abroad. The leadership group, 3 of them. Yep, and then we take it from there.
Right. So, guys, I mean, another full-on episode. I'm sure you would have enjoyed it. It was lovely sitting here chatting with Shamira, Colin, Sue was here earlier, and the works, and I mean, lots to talk about. And we'll
you heard it here first.
You heard it here first
on Inside Access.
Inside Access. Shamira, before I sign off, go down to Magpies and apply for your work down there because Monty and Jody play. And we might not see that in Jamaican colors.
No, we're going to Firebirds.
We might get to see it in black and white.
Firebirds.
Guys, thank you for tuning in tonight. Colin and Shamira, thank you again for joining me. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Bye from London.
Bye.